Hi everybody at NSA Central Florida. This is your 2019-2020 President, Shawn Rhodes, and I'm here to share with you a little bit about what I'm going to be presenting at this year's NSACF Accelerate program on April 25th and 26th. Now my session's coming up on Saturday the 25th, and it's going to be all around the actual aspect of sales for speakers. I'm going to be going over some speaking myths that speakers are taught are true, that I found to be blatantly untrue, even though there are plenty of speaking coaches out there that are advocating these myths are fact. And then I'm going to be going over exactly what I'm going to be covering in my session that day that I've charged people thousands of dollars ahead just to learn. And you're getting that for a quarter of the cost just for my session, let alone all the other great speakers that we're going to be having up there that are currently running active speaking businesses. Not something that worked in the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s, but what works today. And in the aspect of professional speaking, if you're not out there actively selling, if you're not reaching out to people that can buy your keynote, your consulting, your workshop, your books, whatever that thing is that you have to provide impact to the world, you're setting your business up at a disadvantage. And so I'm going to be uncovering two of the speaking myths that day that were taught are just true, but as I've discovered, because I've made over 5,000 sales calls that I've tracked the results of, are absolutely untrue. The first speaking myth has to do with the fact that the speaking business is not scalable. Now, the way this comes across is, yeah, you're just going to have to wait by the stage for the business cards to show up. If you're really, really good, go out there and speak as much as you can, and then people are going to pick up the phone and call you or send you emails for inbound inquiries. And that works as a business model if you have about 20 years to burn to make that happen. It takes that long to get the flywheel going, if you will, in the speaking business. There's an old joke among professional speakers about what does it take to become successful as a professional speaker? The answer is about a decade. Now, I didn't have a decade when I began my speaking business, and I wanted to figure out how can I systemize my outbound sales operations to the point where I can hand it off, so I can make my entire operation for generating gigs scalable. I'm going to be sharing with you exactly how I went about doing that as a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, as a single business owner, to get to the point where I could hand it off to salespeople so that they could be out there generating my gigs for me. I'm going to show you the business model behind that and the things that you need to have in place in order to make that a reality for yourself. Second myth we're going to be debunking is the idea that the speaking business is not predictable. Now, there are coaches out there that will tell you to your face you cannot predict business in the professional speaking industry. And the reason that they tell you you cannot predict business is because they're operating from an outdated model for what a business should be able to do. You see, in the world of professional speaking, we're taught the great speech gets you the gigs. And while the great speech can get you the gigs, if you have about a decade to get word of mouth going on your brand, I didn't have that decade. And I wanted to figure out how do I get predictable gigs? In that, I wanted to build a business, like most businesses, that are able to predict future revenue quarter over quarter, not from recurring consulting contracts, not from subscriptions to my website or my videos or my courses, but from actual keynotes that hadn't even closed yet. So I'm going to walk you through how I built a business so that I can look at any month of the year, January, February, March, April, May, whatever, and be able to know how many deals are in play, how many are set to close that month, what's the potential revenue on each of those deals, and based on my conversion ratio that I know I'm going to convert an X amount of those deals in, what my revenue is likely going to be month over month. I'm actually going to bring you into the back end of my pipeline in my CRM and show you what that looks like across my business model so that you can learn how to do it for yourself in your speaking business. Then we're going to be covering three critical areas, and the first one is actually on being a speaker. Now you'd think that's pretty obvious, right? If you're in the National Speakers Association or you're running a speaking business, you already know what it means to be a speaker. I'm going to show you how to actually reverse how you sell. Because believe it or not, being a speaker is a commodity. Whatever gig you're targeting, whether it's a big convention, an annual event, or a small little quarterly meeting, or a room full of 10 executives, they're not looking for a speaker. Let me share a secret with you. They're looking for somebody that can solve a problem or somebody that can help them accelerate, as we're doing it for this whole weekend on April 25th and 26th, from where they are to where they want to be. I'm going to show you how to redefine what it is you say that you're selling when you reach out to these decision makers so that you can actually frame your expertise in a way that matches to the solution they're looking to provide with their event. So whether you're a nutritionist or a change management expert or a leadership expert or even the ubiquitous motivational speaker, I'm going to show you how to couch that in different terms that are more appealing to people that are putting on events. Because another secret I'm going to be revealing, you're getting right now actually for free, no event is hosted to figure out what the problem is. They know what the problem is or they wouldn't be bringing people together. Maybe the problem is just getting people in a room to network. But if you can couch your value proposition as a speaker in the right way, you're going to be top of mind. You're going to move to the front of the line of all the speakers that they're considering. I'm going to share with you on April 25th how to make that happen. Next thing we're going to be going over, and desperately needed in the professional speaking community, is the area of sales. Now, most speakers are afraid to sell. And the reason they're afraid to sell is because they're afraid of rejection. They're afraid of that person-to-person rejection. Now, they could be in front of an audience of 3,000 and have 5 people get up and walk out of the room in a huff. That doesn't bother them because they've captured 2,995 others. But for one-to-one conversation, they're terrified. I'm going to show you how to get over that fear, how to maintain control of the buying conversation so that you never hear, yeah, send me everything you got in an email along with your speaker fee and we'll get back to you if we're interested. And if you've been in the speaking game longer than 5 minutes, you've had that request. I'm going to show you how we never let the sales conversation end with that request. And finally, we're going to be going over systems. How do you build sales systems into your outbound marketing so that you can control the next step of the conversation? Because the main reason that most speakers lose track of their sales is because they don't have what the next step is predefined. I'm going to walk you through exactly what my process is, step by step. And if you attend this event with us on April 25th, I'm going to give you, as part of your package, because you're investing to be in that room that day, I'm going to give you my entire cold outreach campaign. This is the campaign that generated $50,000 just the first year. I can't tell you how many keynotes that was or I'll break some antitrust laws, but $50,000 worth of revenue generated from this one campaign. I'm going to give you the templates, the timing, what to say on the phone, and the training after the event itself, and how do you actually couch your value proposition in a way that's appealing to buyers. So if you're thinking about where to invest your money this year, where do I invest my professional development dollars, I don't think there's a better place you can do it than NSA Central Florida's Accelerate program. We're bringing the best of the best together. I'm going to be sharing with you everything I've learned over the last half decade on how do you actually make a scalable, predictable model behind your speaking business. So, Shawn Rhodes here, president of NSA Central Florida 2019-2020, host of the Accelerate program at NSA Central Florida on April 25th and 26th right here in beautiful Tampa. Hope you can join us there where I'm going to be teaching you how do you make a speaker sales system that works for you and your speaking business. I'll see you that weekend.